What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning back in. Today we're gonna jump straight into the diff. We're just gonna drain it, clean it up, light it on fire, spray it with more brake cleaner, and get it all ready for San Pedro muffler to weld up. That way we can have our welded diff and we can put it back in the car with our subframe so we can finally get our drive shaft measurement. So that being said, let's just go ahead and jump right into it, get this diff cracked open and drain it. One thing you'll notice is this diff is an LSD. I don't know if it's a viscous LSD or how this works, but it's an LSD, so it's going to be a little harder to weld, but I'm going to get this thing welded because I don't trust the whole LSD stuff. I don't think it's going to lock up good enough. So that being said, we're probably going to take this to Richard to weld instead of San Pedro muffler, just because it's a little bit more complicated, I believe. So that being said, let's go ahead and finish letting this drain and we'll light it up on fire. Alright, we got the diff loaded up in the back of the X5. We're on our way to Apex Integration, also known as Apex or Apexi, where we're going to meet up with Richard so we can weld up our LSD. Alright, so Richard didn't pay attention to the picture I sent him. He didn't realize it was a BLSD. So now I'm at Apex looking at cool cars while we try to find a diff. Alright, so fast forward a few days later, we found a diff. Richard actually picked it up on his way home from Apex from, I forget who, but thank you to whoever we got this diff from. Thanks, Richard, for getting it for me. As you know, we have the 5-bolt axles for my car at the moment. So I do, at the end of the day, want to do the whole Z33 stubs and axles, but we're on a time crunch and we're also on a budget. So in the meantime, I'm going to pull these axle stubs out, replace them with these, put those in there, and put these to the side. That way, once we have more time and some extra money, we can go ahead and do Z33 stubs with these. But yeah, let's go ahead and pop these out real quick and swap them out. But first thing, I got to drain this diff. Change of plans. The 5-bolt axle stubs don't fit in this. I thought it did, and I've been told it does. But if you take a look here, obviously if you guys know anything about these stubs, one's always longer than the other. I believe it's the right side that's longer. So if you take a look at our S13 axle stubs here, you can clearly tell that this one's longer. So this is the long one on my old diff, and it's now longer than this one. It's longer than the long one, which means it's definitely too long, and that's why this wasn't sitting all the way. So that being said, this is not going to work. We need new axles, and now I'm stuck within, do I use stock S13 axles or do I just do the Z33 axles? Alright, it was a bit of a struggle, but we got the axle stubs back on. I'm kind of worried because I was forcing these 5-bolt ones on, and now there's, I don't know if it was always like that, but there's a little bit of play in here if you look. And this one doesn't have that play. So I don't know if it's like that or I damaged it and now there might be a leak. But I guess only time will tell. So we're going to go ahead and throw this diff into the car. That way we can get everything back together. And yes, I decided to just use stock S13 axles for now, just so we can make it to the event, and later on we'll do the Z33 axles. We are trying to make it to Jimmy Up's at Horse Thief Mile, if it still happens. So we're just trying to get the car ready. Alright, so our diff is in. We got the 4 bolts up here and the 2 bolts in the back here. Like I was saying before, I knew something was wrong because I knew the S13 axle ears here weren't as big as the 14 diff was. That being said, now we can finally get an accurate measurement of our drive shaft. So pretty much you go over here, and I have a glove cover in so it doesn't leak all over the floor, but you go from transmission seal all the way over to diff flange, and whatever that measurement is, I just give that to Efren over at Suspicious Garage, and he gets me up a steel drive shaft and a steel one piece, and we're good to go. So let me go ahead and measure that real quick. So we do seal to diff flange, and we'll get our measurement. Alright, so for the drive shaft, we got a measurement of 48.5 inches. So that's like 4 feet and half an inch. So that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and send the measurements over to Efren, and hopefully we can get our drive shaft in soon. Now we're gonna go ahead and route our hard line for our hydro under the car. It's actually the hard line, and it tees off, and then after the tee, it breaks into the soft AN lines again. So we're gonna route that under the car. That way once we get all the brakes and suspension and everything back on, they're already there, out of the way of everything. This is actually brake lines from the RX-7, the hydro setup. I'm just gonna, as you can see, it's already bent in this weird shape. I'm gonna kind of unbend it and bend it in a way to where it fits around the S13 and get it to fit. So let's go ahead and just start bending them and getting it into place. We have our line. Alright, so if you take a look there, you can see right over, let's see, there is where it comes from the soft line to the hard line. Then it's routed all along here with our fuel lines in the same channel. Goes up, down here, and then up at the subframe or at the frame, and it tees right there, right off the frame, and then this side just goes out to that side. This soft line is probably way too long, to be honest, so we're probably gonna get a shorter one of that. But on this side, you can see it goes up, follows the other brake line above the diff, and follows the brake line up until here. And once it gets to here, it just goes out, and we'll figure out where its final place will be once we have the caliper and everything. But it's a good stopping point there. All we gotta do is tighten up the fitting over there, then we will be good to go as far as our brake lines. Alright guys, that's where we're gonna end this one. We got our diff situated. We finally have an S13 diff that's welded. So it's actually the proper diff that's supposed to go in this car. We got our hydro lines all routed up for the most part. We still have to get the finalizing done once we have all the suspension components. That way we know it's not gonna snag on anything. Other than that, the car's coming along step by step. Like everyone else, we're getting just as much work done on our car during this quarantine, and hopefully we'll get this done by May 30th. Jimmy up Matsuri, I believe, at Horse Thief, if it's still happening. So that's the goal. If it happens or not, that's what we're aiming for. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.